Live from the PCTV studios, the Monday Morning Quarterback. Your host, Dave Ridenour.
Hey, good evening, everyone, and welcome to yet another edition of the Vlahos Dunn Insurance Monday Morning Quarterback Show. I'm Dave Ridenour, the Monday Morning Quarterback, and we think we've got another great show planned for you this evening. A lot of big things happening as we get down towards crunch time in the end of October here in our high school football season. So we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, Coach Mick and I are going to look back at last week's action, see what happened around the league, see where teams are starting to jockey for position as we head down the home stretch of the 2017 high school football season. So sit back and relax and watch the Vlahos Dunn Insurance Monday Morning Quarterback Show.
Stay tuned for more Monday Morning Quarterback right after this.
At Vlahos Dunn Insurance, we understand what moves people in business and in life, and we use this knowledge to better serve our clients. And we bring the same work ethic and commitment to our business as our customers do theirs. Vlahos Dunn Insurance, providing quality coverage to the Tri-County area since 1994. So call our knowledgeable staff.
Hi, I'm Jim Vlahos of Vlahos Dunn Insurance, and we're in your community.
So you're officially married. Congrats! It's time to combine things. Your last names, your toothbrush holders, and your health insurance. When you combine policies, you can save and live happily ever after financially. Use the red key for more money-saving tips. Find yourself impulse buying uncontrollably? Here's a tip from Ben Franklin. Carry me in your wallet. Big bills are harder to give up. The next time you're tempted to impulse buy, you might not want to break a Benjamin. Use the red key and save.
Back here in our Pottstown High School studios here at the PCTV Network. Dave Ridenour, joined by my co-host and my buddy for a lot of years, Coach Jim Mick. And Coach, we're heading down the home stretch here. We're in crunch time where the leaves are starting to fall. We really haven't gotten fall weather yet, which is good for us as golfers. But the football season has continued to roll on, and we had some big games last weekend.
Well, you got bigger games coming up this weekend because you do have the championship game coming up, which should be a honey. And the other two, the crossover games, should also be good competition.
Well, you know, Jim, as we normally do here on our show, we start off with our top five. And our top five is brought to you by the Reinhardt boys, the painters in town, since 1946. Give them a holler. They'll do a good job for you inside and outside. I saw them outside on High Street right next to the post office the other day, painting the outside of a house, doing a beautiful job. Ronnie and Keith Reinhardt, give them a holler. Tell them Monday Morning Quarterback sent you. They'll give you a good price on all your painting needs. All right, let's see what we got here. We have, there it is. Potts Grove, number one, all season long. They were the preseason favorites. Rick Pennypacker in his 29th season at Potts Grove, senior-laden squad, undefeated yet. And, of course, everyone knows about Russell, Faison, and the rest of the gang. Perk Valley still right in there as the defending champs with one loss. They replaced a bunch of good athletes. Rob Heist doing a heck of a job in there. O&J with a big win on their homecoming game Friday night in that solid spot at number 3. Upper Perk, Tommy Hans's boys playing real solid here at the end of the year. They could be peaking at the right time. And unfortunately, Pope John Paul is dropping a little bit here at the end of the season with their second loss. But there is our top five Again, brought to you by the Reinhardt Painters here in town. Jim, let's go. Let's start right off with that O&J game, the game that we did right here on the PCTV Network Sports. I was fortunate enough to do that game with Scotty Furman, so I saw it firsthand. And what a big game is O&J is able to shut out Springford, sort of get a little revenge, if you were, from last year's 58-0 win that Springford had as the Cats jumped all over Springford, 33-zip.
Well, I said last week, I said in order for O&J to solidify their season, they had to have a big win. And boy, they did have a big win. They dominated on offense. They dominated on defense. They held Springford to 0 points, and Springford gave up 33 points. So if you're thinking about the playoffs, etc., well, boy, O&J's going in the right direction.
They certainly are. And again, that was a big, big win. You know, we had talked about, Jim, that Rich Kolka in his third year needed that big signature win, and they certainly did get it against their rival Springford. They were fired up from that one from jumps. And again, I read some of the quotes in the paper, listened to the guys talking to the reporters afterwards, and their quarterback Dawson Stewart said, you know, they were focused on winning. They didn't even think about potential losses or what could we do this or that with playoff implications and all the other things. So they had a great week of practice. They were focused on winning, and they came out and set the tempo early.
You know, Dave, you know I'm big on third down efficiency, whether you're on offense or defense. But this stuck in my mind when I read it. O&J had 4 drives of 10 plays or more in 4 possessions. Now, if that's not third down efficiency, I don't know what is.
Yeah, they did a great job with that. And again, I thought it was an important part of the game was that the quarterback, Dawson Stewart, came out and was hot early. You know, he sometimes gets a little excited and throws the ball a little high, but he was right on point through some real nice passes. They got 3 points out of their first drive. They scored the second drive as well. They got up 10-0, and again, they never looked back from that point. I thought they did a real nice job. I thought they ran the ball well. Stewart ran. They ran that little speed option to the outside. They didn't cover the quarterback. They didn't cover Scherfel. They got some big yards on that outside option run as well, Jim.
I was going to ask Coach, I forgot, but how long has he been playing quarterback over there at O&J? He's been there a long time. It's got to be at least his 3rd year.
Yeah, 4th year, really.
4th year, maybe this is 3rd year quarterback. But he is a solid football player, one of the better football players in the league.
And one of the rare things in today's game is that he also doubles as a defensive player, which I think he really has some potential there as well as that either inside, outside linebacker, DN position where he's able to force, and he's a sure-handed tackler as well. But, you know, Scherfel was able to get 100-plus yards.
Yep.
Very serviceable guy. You know, he averages about 4.5 yards a carry. He scored. He had a nice game. And, again, defensively is really where I thought O&J did a nice job because they had Pergine running around for his life back there on most of the passing situations.
Another thing that stuck out to me looking at the statistics was that O&J held Springford, which scores a lot of points, to 175 total yards. 81 rushing, 94 passing, and as you said, he was running around for his life a lot. They put a lot of pressure on him, forcing Springford into 6 punting situations. Added that they had 12 penalties also, which doesn't help.
Well, I know a guy you like, that little DeFrancisco, who's a pretty good little high school football player on both sides of the ball. He had 10 carries for 34 yards,
Yep.
So they certainly did a good job on him. And we certainly cannot go without saying something about number 88. He had a big game for them. Hunter Hendricks on both sides of the ball. 2 nice touchdown catches, one a beauty. He just ran a little go route. He had a little size advantage on the corner, and Stewart put the ball right where he had to. Didn't even have to break stride, and that was about 78 yards or so. That really was a backbreaker for Springford as well. But he played very well on both sides of the ball.
Good combination. And as you said, that happened. That 88-yard touchdown pass between him and Heinrich was for 88 yards, and it was on the 2nd possession of the game. So, boy, that started to put the nails in the coffin.
And I'm going to give you a chance. We're going to play a little Rowan and Martin here, or Sinatra and Martin, or whatever. I'm going to lead you into your boy Proecki. I mean, you got to throw him in there as the son of one of your former players, Coach. Give me a little Proecki update.
Well, first of all, he is a very good receiver. All season long, he's been catching the football. And he always seems, in every game, and he did it against Springford, he comes up with a big play. He had a pick 6 the other night. So he's out there, and the father was like that. Very good defensive player and understood the game. And he picked that ball off, ran it back, and here again, solid defensive team, solid defensive player.
80 yards. And that had been one of the things that Pergine, I had really liked about his game this season was going into the game, he threw 16 touchdowns and only 4 interceptions, Jim. So he doesn't throw the ball away much. He doesn't throw picks. But Puecki did a heck of a job out there in that little flat area and picked that off and took it back 80 yards for a big win for the homecoming team as the band was playing, the cheerleaders were cranked up, the homecoming queen, Owen J. and Rich Culkin did a heck of a job. And as I said, a big signature win for the Cats. All right, now, of course, PV, who was number 2 in our top 5. And again, I don't know if we have our scoreboard ready for that or not. There it is. Yep. And again, I want to thank my buddy Paul Bauer and Associates, an attorney that you can count on. Give Paul a call at 610-624-6800. He does a bunch of different things for you, and he is a good man. He really helps us out here on the show, and he loves to help out with the high school kids as well. So give Paul a call for all your law needs. But again, PV, 51-0 over Methacton. It's just been a long year for Paul Dupree's gang, and it's just a shame that things have to happen the way they have for Methacton this year. But PV on the other side really did what they needed to do. They needed to win another game, and they did it.
Well, to be very honest, that game wasn't any surprise to any of us. 51-0. You hate to see that margin of difference. But Paul Dupree has those kids playing every game, and kudos out to him and his kids. Maybe something will come around with these crossover games. But Perk Valley offense for 496 yards, 500 yards. And they held Methacton to 47 yards and with 2 first downs. Well, that's just complete domination.
Well, he talked about special teams, Jim, and I know you used to stress them a lot, particularly coverage teams and things. But they have a kicker down there named Mike Weir, who's out for the first time, and he is a difference maker. I saw him play a couple of times, and he booms the ball into the end zone or inside the 5-yard line a bunch of times. And 9 out of the 10 drives that Methacton had started inside their own 30-yard line. So they had to go the whole length of the field every time they had the football, and that's just a tough situation for any team, let alone one that's sort of shorthanded with they are there. So Mike Weir was certainly a guy that received a lot of kudos and credit after that game from Rob Heiss and his gang. And again, Rob Heiss just continues to do it and do it.
They got that program rolling. But I want to get back to Mike Weir, the kicker. They're getting into the championship game come Friday night, and there they go into the playoffs. And how many times when you get into the playoffs and championship games is the championship or playoff game is won by a kicker, and Mike Weir is doing the job down there.
He certainly is. We talked about Cole Peterson a little bit earlier before we went on air, and he certainly has not really skipped a beat. And Steven Stern was that record setter all throughout the state, and what he did was incredible in his tenure at PV. But this Cole Peterson is really doing a heck of a job picking up where he left off. He was 8 for 15, 180 yards, 3 more touchdowns. He ran the ball twice for 85 and another touchdown. So he is really adding to his game. And what I like about Peterson and what Coach Heiss has done is these guys are getting better each week, and they're still not peaked yet. Hopefully for them, they can keep it rolling.
Well, at the beginning of the season, Cole Peterson was a sophomore. Let me say to Cole himself, Cole, you're not a sophomore anymore. You're a junior. You've played enough games now, and your performance is showing that you're an upperclassman playing real well. Keep it up.
And of course, we had Brendan Schimpf on here a couple of weeks ago as our player of the week. He had another solid game on both sides of the ball. He scored another touchdown. And John Moshe, another young sophomore, is getting better and better each week as that dual threat coming out of the backfield, sort of taking that David Williams position, running the ball and also catching it. All right, and our last game on the big side, which is the Liberty Division, is the Boyertown game against Norristown. And Boyertown is a team that is getting better as the season goes along. I know they had some turmoil in the beginning of the season, but they were able to knock off Norristown 20-15, Jim. And from the second half of the season on, or maybe midway through, they have really gotten better. And another big win for T.J. Miller's gang.
Well, Coach Miller got that team playing. But let's give a little credit to Norristown, too. With 40 seconds to go, that may have been the best game of the weekend.
Yeah.
They took a 15-14 lead with 40 seconds to go, and naturally Boyertown gets the ball, and with an untimed down or two, they throw a Hail Mary pass, and Aiden Mathias says, "I never threw the ball that far." He threw it 60 yards in the air, and who better to throw it to than somebody that's 6'3" or 6'4". Jerry Cap goes up and takes it out of the air. Boom, Boyertown wins the football game. And you know what? That makes Boyertown feel very happy. He's got to be happy with the progress of the Boyertown team.
Well, like I said, that's always a mark of a team that you and I have talked for many years doing this show, that you watch how these teams perform as the season goes on.
Yep.
Are they getting better? Are they progressing? And Boyertown is certainly one of those teams, and a great coaching job by T.J. Miller and his staff. I know it was sort of a penalty-ridden game. It had to be a tough one to watch. It lasted a long, long time. 32 total penalties in the game for nearly 300 yards. So there were some things going on there, I guess, but who knows? I didn't get a chance to see the game yet, but a big Hail Mary win as Mathias the Cap pulls that out, Jim, as you mentioned, as they were down by 1 with no time left on the clock. All right, Jim, well, let's take a quick timeout. When we come back, we'll look on the other side. We'll check out the Frontier Division right here on the Vlahos Dunn Insurance Monday Morning Quarterback Show. Stay tuned for more right after this.
Stay tuned for more Monday Morning Quarterback right after this.
Fred Beans Ford of Boyertown is located on Route 100, just 2 miles north of Boyertown. Fred Beans Ford provides automotive sales, service, parts, and body shop all in one place. They're open 6 days a week. Fred Beans Ford in Boyertown can be reached at 800-222-0243, 800-222-0243, or online at fredbeans.com.
Doc Watson's is one of the hottest new sports bars around. Located next to Zern's Market in Boyertown, Doc's offers something for everyone. From live entertainment to countless draft beers, from great burgers to the new outside patio, from the numerous TVs to the friendly Doc service. Doc Watson's is the place to be. So stop by Doc's today for a leisurely lunch, a quick cold beer, or a great bite to eat on a nice fall night. Doc Watson's.
Welcome to the office of John H. Greismeyer Jr., where we believe in the value of relationships. We take pride in giving you the assistance you need, where that involves income tax, payroll, or financial statement preparation. Located in Boyertown, we're committed to meeting the needs of the people in our community, and our team of skilled financial professionals look forward to working with you. John H. Greismeyer Jr. Call us or visit our website now.
Hey, we're back here on set. We're having some fun here tonight on the Vlahos Dunn Insurance Monday Morning Quarterback. Dave Ryder and, of course, Jim Mick. And Jim, we broke down the larger schools and the big win by Owen J. Roberts as they knocked off Springford. Let's go into our number one team, the team that's really everybody's shooting for this year. Rick Pennypacker's got himself a heck of a squad over there. As you can see, our scoreboard, again, brought to you by Paul Bauer, an attorney that you can count on. Give Paul a call today. But, you know, I guess we have to start with Faison, even though we sort of sound like a broken record each week. But Rasul Faison does it again. 300 yards, 6 touchdowns. I mean, he just is doing it all in a game that PJP really wanted to try to come in there and set the tempo early. They played pretty hard in that first half. They had Faison reasonably corralled, but you know he's going to break something, and he makes these highlight reel runs almost every week, at least 1 or 2 of them, and he continues to do it.
Well, I would be remiss if I did not say something of a running back of that caliber. 2,000 yards already this year. He's the leading rusher ever in the Pac-10. Now, if you go back through the history of the Pac-10, there have been some good running backs in the Pac-10 or Pac-12, and he's been the best of all time. I just wanted to see the team that has the possibility of stopping the run game with them, because nobody has even come close. Now, I know with PJP, they've had a really good season, and De Laurentiis is a very good quarterback, and he got some kids that can catch the ball, starting with Bill Stein, etc. But you can't win consistently unless you run the ball. And the last two games against Springford and Pottsgrove, PJP has not been able to run the ball, and Coach Graver knows that. He said, I can't run it, so I got to throw it. And but it's hurt. It hurts.
Well, and it does. I mean, they only had 16 rushing yards. They lost 2 fumbles. They gave up 4 sacks. They threw 2 interceptions. So, again, this is similar to what we talked about last year at Perkiomen Valley, is that defense sometimes gets overlooked because of Faison and because how prolific the offense is, that they forget about the defense that Pottsgrove has. But they have some good players. And I'll tell you right now, Ryan Bedolis and those kids are really improved, and they are making plays all over the place. I mean, they beat De Laurentiis around, and unfortunately he got nicked up and had to leave the game in the 4th quarter. But he was a guy that really single-handedly almost tried to keep those teams in there by throwing 4 scores.
Well, when Ryan Bedolis gets down on that edge position as a defensive end, the edge guy, and he comes across the line of scrimmage and gets himself upfield, he causes a lot of problems for the quarterback because he's very, very difficult to handle. And you also have a guy by the name of Kobe Baldwin. I mean, he had a 58-yard punt return. So they're solid. They're just a solid football team, and the record speaks for itself.
And how many times have we said Rick Pennypacker takes a lot of pride in his offensive line, and that offensive line is getting off the ball. They're creating holes. I mean, Faison's averaging 10.7 yards per carry. He's got 2,217 yards already this year, 33 touchdowns, and he's averaging 10.7. So that's a first down. Every time he touches the ball, he's getting a first down. I mean, it's just incredible the way he's able to run. And I just have never seen a running back was as patient as he is and sets up his blocks as well as he does at the high school level. And I've seen a lot of good players. I saw Jack Dillaplayne play at Pottstown, and I can go on and on and on with all the good running backs in this area. Brumfield had a heck of a career at Owen J. Roberts, but none of them ran the way that Faison does. He's just so patient. He finds that hole. He's in it, and he's surprisingly quick, and he doesn't get caught from behind.
Well, he, as you said, he is very, very quick. But the one thing beside quickness and speed that a great running back has to have is the ability to see that opening, pause, wait till the opening comes. And I saw the kid talked about it in the paper. So his eyes are terrific, and that's helping him a great deal.
Yeah, he certainly does have that vision. And again, he just is a football player. And surprising for a guy, when you see him without his pads on and stuff, he's not physically imposing. He's not a small guy by any chance, but he lifts weights. He will finish off runs, Jim. He lowers his shoulder and picks up that last yard, 2 yards after the contact, and he's surprisingly a physical guy as well.
Absolutely. I would like to say something about PJP. They got off to a 7-0 start. They had a great start, considering what they've gone through. And it so happens that their 2 toughest games came at the end of the season when they had Pottsgrove and Upper Perk back-to-back.
Well, Roy Graver's done a heck of a job there. There's no doubt about it. There's no questioning what he's been able to do this year. The best start in school history. As you mentioned, 7 straight wins. But unfortunately, you know, they had a tough part at the end of their season. And I think it didn't help them a lot that they knocked off Pottsgrove last year. And I know that Faison and Cisco and Baldwin and Bedolis and all those guys that they got, Janasek, the big lineman, they had that date circled. They wanted another shot at PJP for knocking them off last year, and they certainly did get sort of a little bit of redemption there on Friday night. Now, the other team that you just mentioned has been playing very good at the end of the season, Upper Perkiomen. We had Coach Hans on and a couple of his players. We had Tyler Wary on last week, who was a heck of a football player. I like his game a lot. He's a physical kid on both sides of the ball. They were able to knock off Pottstown on their senior night, 33-0.
Well, first of all, a couple kudos at Pottstown, having a tough season, your alma mater. But they played tough, Dave, for 3 quarters. I think it was 10-0.
10-0 at halftime.
At halftime, 17-0 at the third quarter. So, as a coach, when you're going through a season like that, sometimes you're not necessarily looking to win. We're looking to improve. Let's get through the first quarter and keep the game close. Then we get through the second quarter and keep the game close. And maybe eventually we can get into the fourth quarter and win a game. And Pottstown showed signs of that. So, very good job by them. And they got this John Oyster, who you like. 59 yards, 5 attempts, and they're playing determined football against, as you said, a good Upper Perk team.
Well, the kid I like has really played well on both sides of the ball. Jamal Adams had another interception. He and Figueroa in the secondary have been solid for them. But you look on the offensive side of the ball, they only rushed for 38 yards and only threw for 28 more, for a total of 66. So they had a hard time moving the ball against that stingy Upper Perk defense. Again, Tyler Wary and his gang really played well. His brother's in there as well, Luke. They form a pretty tough tandem inside. Wary had a pick 6. Kaiser improving as a quarterback too, Jim. He had 139 yards and a TD.
Tyler Wary may be one of the best two-way players in the league. Both sides of the ball. He rushed for 17 times for 150 yards. He's also very good as a linebacker. He's a middle linebacker, tough. And they got the Kendrick kid, who's a big, tall basketball player. He had 6 receptions for 90 yards. And as you said, Tyler Kaiser has gotten better game in and game out. And their total yardage was something like 430 yards. And Pottstown has struggled offensively the entire season. You can't run the ball, and they have trouble throwing the ball. And that's why they're 1-8 or 0-5. But that doesn't mean they're not trying.
Oh, yeah. Well, said the effort, Coach liked the effort. As you mentioned, it was only 10-0 at halftime. But you and I know, Jim, that those moral victories don't count for much, and you have to start winning some ball games. And Pottstown's going to try to get a little better this week. And, of course, our last game is Evan Brisplat and his gang with a big win over Upper Marion. They were losing late into that ball game, but they came back with 28 unanswered points to win that ball game as they win their 3rd game of the season, knocked off Upper Marion 35-17.
Well, as you said, it was close. They erupted for 28 points in the second half. And where did this guy, Alex Washington, come from? I don't remember his name all year, but he had 4 touchdowns, 2 running, 2 passing, 2 from Connor Patania. And another thing is Zion Small. This is hard to believe, too. 8th interception of the season.
Yep.
Well, how many games did they play? 8?
Yep.
9? He's got an interception a game. That's some record that may never be broken.
Well,
8 interceptions.
I'm sure Neil Oak was probably
Zion
had that many
Small.
at one time.
How many did you have, Neil? He didn't have any.
We played in the tough Chestnut League where all we did was run and try to beat each other's brains, and that's the way we used to play. But it's a lot of fun. But yeah, I did have that down at Zion Smith, I believe.
Small.
Oh, Small. Okay,
Small,
I'm sorry, Small, with 8 interceptions, which set a record at Phoenixville. But again, congratulations to Coach Brisplat and his gang. All right, Jim, we got one more timeout to do. We come back, we're going to look at our crossover games highlighted by the championship game, which will be shown right here on the PCTV Network Sports. So we'll be right back in a minute or two for more right after this.
Stay tuned for more Monday Morning Quarterback right after this.
So you're officially married. Congrats! It's time to combine things. Your last names, your toothbrush holders, and your health insurance. When you combine policies, you can save and live happily ever after financially. Use the red key for more money-saving tips. Find yourself impulse buying uncontrollably? Here's a tip from Ben Franklin. Carry me in your wallet. Big bills are harder to give up. The next time you're tempted to impulse buy, you might not want to break a Benjamin. Use the red key and save.
The newly remodeled and renovated Creekside Sports Bar and Grill sits on the Landis Creek Golf Course, featuring live entertainment and weekly specials. brings a big the fall spirit to Creekside. Sports
just 2 miles north of Boyertown. Fred Beans Ford provides automotive sales, service, parts, and body shop all in one place. They're open 6 days a week. Fred Beans Ford in Boyertown can be reached at 800-222-0243, 800-222-0243, or online at fredbeans.com.
Back in 1949, Claude A. Reinhardt founded his family business, which has served the Pottstown and Tri-County area for over 50 years, specializing in residential and commercial interior and exterior painting, paper hanging, and brick restoration. Thanks to the commitment of tradition and values, Claude A. Reinhardt Painters has once again received this year's Reader's Choice Award. So if you're thinking about having an estimate or just need some good advice, give Ron or Keith Reinhardt a call and put your painting and decorating needs in our hands.
Welcome to the office of John H. Greismeyer Jr., where we believe in the value of relationships. We take pride in giving you the assistance you need, where that involves income tax, payroll, or financial statement preparation. Located in Boyertown, we're committed to meeting the needs of the people in our community, and our team of skilled financial professionals look forward to working with you. John H. Greismeyer Jr. Call us or visit our website now.
At Vlahos Dunn Insurance, we understand what moves people in business and in life, and we use this knowledge to better serve our clients. And we bring the same work ethic and commitment to our business as our customers do theirs. Vlahos Dunn Insurance, providing quality coverage to the Tri-County area since 1994. So call our knowledgeable staff.
Hi, I'm Jim Vlahos of Vlahos Dunn Insurance, and we're in your community.
Hey, we're back here at the Pottstown Studios for the PCTV Network here for the Vlahos Dunn Insurance Monday Morning Quarterback. Dave Ryan there, Jim Mick, and we have our Player of the Week waiting and his coach on set here, and of course our special guest at the end of the show, so we're having some fun off air as well. Well, Jim, let's go reverse order for our crossover games. We'll start off with the Pottstown at Methacton game. Pottstown was able to knock off Methacton for their lone win of the season. Methacton would like nothing better than to return the favor to the Trojans and try to get a win before their season is over, and that's game number one, Jim.
Well, that's what we were talking about before the show came on about Thanksgiving Day game. When there were no playoffs, at least you could end the season on a high note, and that was important by winning the Thanksgiving Day game. Now we come down to Pottstown and Methacton. Now Pottstown won that first game. Good football game. And it's going to be down at Methacton. I think Pottstown's moving in the right direction. First quarter, second quarter, now they got to get to the fourth quarter and win. So if I had to pick a winner in this game, and it's going to be a good game, I'm picking your alma mater.
Attaboy, Jim, attaboy. But you are getting soft in your old age. Even some of your old players said, boy, that Mick is getting soft in his old age. Man, he used to make us run the hills and do all this crazy stuff. Now he's praising everybody and their brother over there. I got to laugh. Your old team,
yeah, hold it. Now wait.
Your old players still love you, Coach.
Now wait.
They do.
I make a lot of money on this show, so I got to keep you happy.
Absolutely. All right, game number two. We have Upper Marion traveling to Norristown. Again, Coach Powell and his gang have to be a little bit angry about the way that last game ended against Boyertown on the last play of the game with that Hail Mary. Victor Brown would like nothing more than to get a big win here at Norristown.
Well, that's a crosstown big rivalry. We don't know as much about that game, but that's a big rivalry, Norristown and Upper Marion. And they play each other on Friday night, and then I think they play each other again on Thanksgiving.
Yeah,
okay?
I don't know if they'll play them both or not,
right.
But they're going to,
well,
they're scheduled to.
Vic Brown had his first win a week ago, and Powell and Norristown had a tough loss on Saturday. So here again, that should be another tough football game. But I think I'll go with Norristown.
Okay. Now, Phoenixville and Boyertown. This game all of a sudden looks pretty good. Phoenixville has been hot lately here in the second half of the season. I think they had some injury problems. You talked about Zion Small and what he's been able to do defensively. Patania, the quarterback, has gotten better. Pinella has been a pretty solid running back for Coach Brisblatt. And then you talked about Alex Washington. He is one of those athletes, a guy they're trying to find a position for him. They had him running the Wildcat for a while. They had him in the backfield. But they're traveling on to Boyertown. TJ's boys are playing pretty good, especially they got to be excited after that last-second win against Norristown.
Well, playing now, they played Springford tough.
They knocked off O&J, which was
knocked off
an
O&J
upset,
early in the season, and Phoenixville struggled early, but I think they had special team breakdowns. I think they had a lot of penalties. I think they got into a lot of games that they could have won, could have, should have, would have, but didn't. But I think they've gotten better at the end of the season, and I think that's a toss-up game. I'll go with Boyertown, Phil.
Okay, and of course, John Miller, who we had on the show a few weeks ago, 6'3", 285-pound lineman, he's got to impose his will in that game as well. All right, PJP, the team that started also well at 7-0, unfortunately lost 2 in a row here now the last 2 weeks. They take on a team, Springford, who is sort of smarting from that defeat that they had on Friday night at the hands of O&J over there at Bucktown as they were shut out. Both of these two teams searching for a big win.
Absolutely, and they're located very, very close to each other, within a mile or two from each other. So a lot of the kids on both teams are friends. They know each other, etc., etc. Springford hadn't played that well the last couple games. For whatever reason, I don't know. PJP is thirsting for a win. They got to go over to Springford. It's going to be a tough football game. I'm picking PJP.
All right. Again, I don't know the health status of De Laurentiis. De Laurentiis was nicked up a little bit in the second half of that game against Pottsgrove. Hopefully, he'll be able to play. Now, here's a game all of a sudden. It really becomes interesting to all of us. Upper Perk and O&J, who are both playing very well here at the end of the season. There's all kinds of playoff implications there and seedings and things. Both teams want to keep momentum going. I think this is a good football game. I think this is potentially could be the best game out of this whole group, Upper Perk and O&J Roberts.
Well, you've said it, so I'll repeat it. O&J Roberts and Upper Perk are both playing their best football at the end of the season, and that's when you want to play your best game at the end of the season. It's over at O&J. Upper Perk beat them the first time, am I correct?
This year?
Yeah.
No,
they didn't play?
No, they didn't play.
Okay, they didn't play. My mistake. Well, I'm going to go with the O&J Roberts because of it's a home game. They're coming off a big, big win. They got a lot of momentum, as Upper Perk does, but I think that home field advantage will be big for the Wildcats.
Okay, and then, of course, the championship game, which everyone is excited about. It's sort of a rematch of last year's game that the Perk Valley was able to win. Pottsgrove, again, looking for a little redemption this year. They will travel to Perk Valley, which is a tough place to play. And they had a home game last year. So all the crossover games this year are being played at the Liberty Division schools. So it'll be at PV. It should be interesting. And again, defensively, can anyone stop Rasul Faison, and can Pottsgrove's D play as good as they've been playing to shut down Peterlin and all his guys?
Dave, I always said this as a coach. If I had 15 seniors, and 15 seniors at Pius was a lot. If I had 12 to 15 seniors every year, we'd be a pretty good football team. Pottsgrove's got 19 or 20 seniors. Those kids have been around together for a long, long time. On the other hand, I don't know how many seniors Perk Valley got, but I do know they have a quarterback that's playing very, very well. And this Brandon Shimp is one of the best leaders in the league, two-way player. It is going to be one heck of a football game down at Perk Valley on Friday night. Perk Valley is the defending champ. But if they can't stop, or at least slow him up, they're not going to win the game. I'm going to go with Pottsgrove in this game.
Okay, and I know that's tough for you as being an old rival from Pius to give Pottsgrove any kind of kudos and credit there, Jim. But, man, I'll tell you, your guys are going to be calling you on the phone tomorrow morning. I'll tell you that much. But that should be a heck of a game. I think there's a lot of good games this weekend. Get out there and support your guys. They deserve it. They put in a lot of time and effort, and the coaching staffs do as well. All right, Jim. Well, I'm going to say goodbye to you again this week, and we'll look forward to seeing you next Monday. We're back here in the studio again. We have the player of the week and his coach waiting in the wings. We'll get him suited up and ready to rock and roll here in a minute. So let's take a quick timeout, and when we come back, we're going to meet our player of the week and his coach right here on the Vallejo Stone Insurance Monday Morning Quarterback Show.
Stay tuned for more Monday Morning Quarterback right after this.
So you're officially married. Congrats! It's time to combine things. Your last names, your toothbrush holders, and your health insurance. When you combine policies, you can save and live happily ever after financially. Use the red key for more money-saving tips. Find yourself impulse buying uncontrollably? Here's a tip from Ben Franklin. Carry me in your wallet. Big bills are harder to give up. The next time you're tempted to impulse buy, you might not want to break a Benjamin. Use the red key and save.
The newly remodeled and renovated Creekside Sports Bar and Grill sits on the Landis Creek Golf Course. Featuring live entertainment and weekly specials, the Creekside offers something for everyone. Discounted beer and wing prices during all Eagles games brings a being at the game feeling. With tailgating, big screen TVs, and wearing your team colors, you can bring the fall spirit to Creekside. So stop by the Creekside Sports Bar and Grill and see all the fun things it has to offer.
Fred Beans Ford of Boyertown is located on Route 100, just 2 miles north of Boyertown. Fred Beans Ford provides automotive sales, service, parts, and body shop all in one place. They're open 6 days a week. Fred Beans Ford in Boyertown can be reached at 800-222-0243, 800-222-0243, or online at fredbeans.com.
Back in 1949, Claude A. Reinhardt founded his family business, which has served the Pottstown and Tri-County area for over 50 years, specializing in residential and commercial interior and exterior painting, paper hanging, and brick restoration. Thanks to the commitment of tradition and values, Claude A. Reinhardt Painters has once again received this year's Reader's Choice Award. So if you're thinking about having an estimate or just need some good advice, give Ron or Keith Reinhardt a call and put your painting and decorating needs in our hands.
Welcome to the office of John H. Greismeyer Jr., where we believe in the value of relationships. We take pride in giving you the assistance you need, where that involves income tax, payroll, or financial statement preparation. Located in Boyertown, we're committed to meeting the needs of the people in our community, and our team of skilled financial professionals look forward to working with you. John H. Greismeyer Jr. Call us or visit our website now.
At Vallejo Stone Insurance, we understand what moves people in business and in life, and we use this knowledge to better serve our clients. And we bring the same work ethic and commitment to our business as our customers do theirs. Vallejo Stone Insurance, providing quality coverage to the Tri-County area since 1994. So call our knowledgeable staff.
Hi, I'm Jim Vlahos of Vallejo Stone Insurance, and we're in your community.
Back here on the Vallejo Stone Insurance Monday Morning Quarterback, Dave Ridenour. And again, this is always the most fun part of the show for us, as we get an opportunity to meet some of the local high school guys without all their gear on and their helmets, and get a chance to get up close and personal with them and talk to them and their coach. And tonight I want to welcome Dawson Stewart to the show. He is the quarterback and linebacker for Owen J. Roberts and his coach Rich Kolka in his third season. Guys, first of all, congratulations on a big win and welcome to the show. Thank you. I talked to Dawson a little bit before the show, and I told him for years I thought his name was Stewart Dawson instead of Dawson Stewart. So I apologized to him, and my goal was to get through this show and call him Dawson for the rest of the show. So my apologies, big boy. You know, it's sort of an interesting thing, Rich. You know, now in your third year, after year two, you guys did a pretty good job at 7-5. You were a little hoping to maybe for a little better, maybe. But you go into the off season, you know you have some guys coming back. What was the mindset of you and your coaching staff to work with these kids in the off season?
Well, we knew we had some potential coming back on both sides of the ball, which was it's really fun when you're a coach to be able to build upon what you've started and not start new again, which is what we had to do 2 years ago when we took. So we wanted to focus on some things that we were good at. You know, obviously get stronger, be in the weight room 3 to 4 days a week, and then summer practice, like most of the teams do around here. But our guys were very dedicated, and I think that was the difference.
Well, you know, Dawson, now being your 4th year as a player at the high school level, obviously in the quarterback position, which is a natural leader spot. You are the leader of the group. What kinds of things did you do to try to get the guys in the all season to rally together to get better and look forward to the 2017 season?
I mean, like Coach said, we lift 3 to 4 times a week. I made sure everyone got there because we need to get stronger, need to get faster, get in condition because, I mean, this was our year. We were all coming back, like 22 seniors, I think. So we wanted to hit the ground full speed, strong, fast, and just come out strong like we did.
And Coach Mick had mentioned before, while he coached at Pius, he was lucky to get 12, maybe 15 seniors at a time. Here they got 22, Coach. So they certainly did have a luxury of some guys coming back as well. 7 starters on offense and 9 on defense. And, you know, I grew up in Pottstown. We were a city school, so we didn't have to worry about it. But is it tough in the all-season, Dawson, to get all the guys there? Because, you know, O&J is such a spread-out area, you know, rides and things. Does that make it a little bit more difficult?
You would think, but we're such a close group of guys over there, so we have all text each other. If you need a ride, let someone know. Like I said, 22 seniors, most of us can drive. So the turnout this summer was very good.
Yeah, and that's also something I always thought about is making sure that you had everybody getting a chance to get there. And today's world, you know, we talked to Rob Heist and how he's able to text his guys and all this. And, you know, Jim and I, we laugh because that's so new to us as right. Coaches when we were and players and things. I guess you have a pretty good relationship and you're able to stay in touch with most of your guys pretty easily now.
Yeah, either by cell phone or our program called Huddle that we use on the internet. It sends out messages directly to their cell phone. So that's kind of a nice advantage that you didn't have.
Yeah, we certainly did have it all. We were still trying to watch 16 millimeter films and stuff. Jumped around, you couldn't even tell who was who and what team was which. But I certainly do have a lot of advantages there. I know a lot of the guys are now.
Huge film guy.
Yeah, so you get a lot of work out of that. Now, as a quarterback and as also a defender, do you find yourself watching one side of the ball more than the other, or how do you approach your film studies?
I try to spread it out evenly, but usually, I mean, you got to score to win football games, so I usually watch a little bit more offense, because it's more more in-depth.
So do you watch your tapes more or the other team's tapes, or how do you break that down?
I watch our tapes like once or twice through, see what I did right, see what I did wrong. But then the rest of the week, I'm watching other teams. We get like five other games, so I'm watching all of those games multiple times.
Wow, that's amazing. You know, Rich, you talked about your 3rd year now that you don't have to implement your system, and the guys should be pretty well used to what you're trying to accomplish. How was that transition for you? Was it what you thought it would be like? Was it more difficult? Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, my first year, I thought it was very difficult. We were probably a quarter of the offense that we had in. Defense, we were very limited, but as it progressed, it actually progressed a lot faster than I thought it would. Here we are in year 3 and talking about a playoff spot. No way did I think that would be accurate.
Well, did you know anything about some of the guys you had before you took the job? I mean, did you know you had some pretty good talent over there at O&J? You just sort of had to try to corral them and get them going in the right way?
No, actually, I was told the exact opposite when I was interviewing for the job. So I didn't know much about it at all, so just from what people told me.
Yeah, well, that's a typical Berks County guy. You don't know much about what's going on around you up there, do you?
I lived here the whole time. So.
Yeah, Berks County. That's just sort of a different brand of football up there with the Reddings and the Muhlenbergs and the Wilsons and all those teams. Obviously, it was an adjustment for you too, with a new coaching staff and new coaches coming in. How do you like the system that's in there now?
I mean, spread offense, a lot more passing. I mean, love it more when it's a quarterback.
Yeah.
So it's great to have the ball in your hands a lot.
That's cool. Now, do you prefer quarterback or linebacker, or what position do you like to play the most?
I mean, it's nice hitting people. But I'd probably say scoring touchdowns is.
That's pretty much fun too, as well. Yeah. Well, you started off the year. You did a good job. You won some games in the beginning of the season, Rich, and you knocked off Conestoga or whatever. A couple teams that you had some troubles with earlier. You beat a decent Henderson team, and so you're ready to rock and roll, getting ready for your divisional play. What was the mindset coming into your divisional play as you headed into the Liberty division?
Well, unfortunately for us, our first league game was PV. So it was kind of all on the line right away. And that's how we prefaced it. We were 4-0 going in. They were 3-1. If we wanted a shot at the league title, we knew we had to go through PV. And unfortunately, I don't think we played real well. We turned the ball over 4 times during that game. And I was kind of concerned that we weren't ready for the big spotlight or the big game. But I think we've turned that around now.
Yeah, as I mentioned during the telecast on Friday, we did that game on the PCTV network, and you guys certainly looked a lot different on Friday night than you did at PV. Right. What were some of the differences that you guys have progressed along the way?
I mean, we put more emphasis on practice now. Like, we're going at each other. And, I mean, especially like a game like Springford Friday night, it was all or nothing, really. And as a group of 22 seniors, we didn't want our season to end short after all we worked for in the off season over the last 3 years with Coach.
That's cool. Now, did you set some goals? Are you a goal-oriented guy,
yes, I am,
Rich?
yes.
So your goals, individual, team? Team goals?
Individuals just come with the team success. That's how we do that.
And you as well?
Team first.
Team first is good. Well, I look down the list, you talked about some of these seniors and returning players. We talked about Puwecki and Krumenacher, again, another guy who's sort of like an unsung hero, maybe flies under the radar a lot, but if you watch those games, he certainly is a force for you on defense as well. Henriks, you mentioned one of the better athletes on your team on both sides of the ball. Scherfel is a steady Eddie kind of guy, and Hayward, you certainly do have some guys that you can count on, Coach.
Yes, we do. One of those guys, Hayward's a junior, so that's a good thing for us for building the program up. Our 22 seniors have been fantastic as far as leadership goes and off-season workouts. It's been awesome.
Now, obviously you're going to circle the date for this game against Springford. I'm sure everybody had that 58-0 score in the back of their minds. It's no fun to be on the downside of those games. We all have been as a player, as a coach, unfortunately, but I'm sure you were getting ready for that one.
Yeah, like I said, practice was a real emphasis. We were focusing a lot on both sides of the ball. And before the game, when we won the toss, I wanted the ball because I told Coach we're not losing this game.
Yeah. So you didn't want to defer to the second half. You wanted the ball right away. And again, most people do defer to the second half. They want that second half touch. But you guys took the ball right away and looked real sharp. You particularly were real sharp in that first drive. Obviously, Coach, it's a big game for you. Yeah, you and Chad Brubaker, as I mentioned, the Berks County connection there, that you certainly knew each other pretty well. I noticed there was a couple little heated exchanges between the two of you. So that was a little intense rivalry on Friday night.
Yeah, it's just the heat of the moment. Chad's a good coach and a good guy, so.
Yeah, well, like I said, it's part of the game. I've been there many, many times, but I noticed it was, again, one of those, you can tell, a playoff atmosphere kind of a game, and that was certainly relevant on Friday night. Homecoming, does that get you a little excited too? How do you handle that?
Yeah, because you have past players coming back. Like you saw, like Bill Scherfel, people I haven't seen since freshman year. I mean, and then a bunch of people from the school came out because we're having a good season, and it's homecoming. So everyone came out, and it was just a great atmosphere to play.
Yeah, there was a nice crowd on the home side, particularly on Friday night. And again, I know sometimes homecoming and those special events, they sort of, can take you off your distractions and take you off your game a little bit. But they're always fun, Rich. I'm sure you have to embrace them as well.
Yeah, you want to play in meaningful games in October, and usually that's when homecoming is. So if they can collide, it makes it a fun atmosphere.
Yeah, and it certainly was on Friday night. Well, okay, now you have games coming up. Let's talk a little bit about them as well. You have your crossover game. Upper Perk and O&J, I think, are two teams that are on a collision course that seem to be having mirror seasons for one another. They're both playing pretty well. They're both tough physical teams. We'll start with you, Coach. How do you break down the game coming up with Upper Perk?
They're, like you mentioned, very physical. Their running back, Wary, is very good linebacker as well. They have a lot of athletes. I wasn't expecting to see that on film, and excuse me, they do have a lot of athletes.
They certainly do. Now, what kind of things have you noticed about Upper Perk as you get yourself ready for Friday night?
You can see on film, they're a very physical team. Up front, they're big men. If they get their hands on you, they're pretty physical. Like the Wary brothers, He runs hard. He plays defense hard. His brother, he plays defense good. Kendra, great athlete, played him in basketball. He knows how to go for a ball. And
yeah, he can high point him, that's sure. And Kaiser's a guy who played wide receiver last year. Now he had to take over for Zeke Holman, who was a pretty darn good high school football player. Now Kaiser's made that transition for them. You have a home game, though, Rich, which is a big plus for you guys. What kinds of things do you have planned to get the crowds all fired up and get everybody out there?
Well, hopefully they'll be there to support us, and I think they will be. And we're undefeated at home so far this year, so we're going to try and keep that rolling.
That's a good thing. Now, have you seen anything on film that you've noticed that you think you might be able to exploit a little bit? You don't have to tell us what it is, but you have a little plan in the back of your mind?
Yeah, we got a couple of things that we could hit them with this week coming up.
Yeah. Well, you know, you've thrown the ball well. I mean, you're the career leader in passing yards. You just broke the school record in career touchdown passes as well. So you certainly have had a good career. Things are going well for you. Are you happy where you are as far as a football player now?
Yeah, I'm happy, but I'm not going to settle for anything until it's all said and done. So there's always more room to improve.
Yeah. Now I know you played more than one sport. Is football your main deal, or what else?
I'd probably say whatever sport's in season is my favorite sport.
But in the future, are you going to pursue one of them, I would think?
Yeah,
right?
One of them.
Okay.
Football or baseball.
Football or baseball. Okay, because I did see you play last year for the Legion game. Coach, and I got to bring this up to you before we go. Okay. I know you're not a big Thanksgiving Day guy.
Well.
And, you know, Jim Mick and we were raised with Thanksgiving Day. You know, you're scheduled to play again this year, and I guess you will come heck or high water there with the playoffs. And
correct, we'll play the game. Yep.
You'll play the game, and it's at Pottstown this year. I know sometimes it's a little bit of a hassle if you don't make the playoffs because there's such a long time in between. How do you approach the Thanksgiving Day games?
We approach it like any other game. We think it's really important to end the season on a win, especially for underclassmen going into the offseason. I know last year was a big emphasis for Stu's group, you know, make sure we get that win to carry it over. So it's an important game for us, regardless of records of teams. We're going to take it serious, and we're going to be ready.
You know, Dawson, Thanksgiving Day is special to me. Do you enjoy playing on Thanksgiving Day?
Yeah, I love it. I mean, there's a bunch of tradition. It's like 59th year, something like that. So my dad played in it. My grandfather played in it. So it's always something to look forward to.
That's awesome. And I know there has been some great traditions at O&J. You know, you talk about the families that have played there. Pottstown, not as much anymore, but they used to have that same traditions with, you know, brothers and fathers and uncles and grandfather stuff playing in that game, and I just hope that you give our guys a shot this year. Okay, don't beat them up too much now, all right, Dawson? Because I'll start calling you Stuart Dawson again if you beat us up too badly. But listen, Coach, I want to wish you all the best. I appreciate we finally able to get you over here, and I wanted to meet and talk to this guy for a couple of years now, and I'm glad it all worked out for us. You got a couple of big games coming up. Keep them fired up. Everybody healthy, it appears.
For the most part.
Guys, yeah, except for the normal nicks that you have at this point in the season. And good luck against Upper Perk. And then hopefully you'll keep it rolling at least and get a playoff game or 2 or 3 or however many you have, which I'm sure is certainly one of your goals.
Absolutely.
Thank you. All right, well, good luck, guys. Well, listen, I have something for you. Our guys down there at the Complete Graphics, the Ritwich boys on High Street, they have really been great. They've done all my printing for me. They did stuff for me for the Hall of Fame. We got a certificate here for you, Dawson Stewart. The week of the 23rd, you are the player of the week for the Monday Morning Quarterback. And also my guy down there, Charlie Pierce, at the Trophy and Plaque Shack. This is our little mini Heisman, so you can put this around, take it, put it in your locker. It helps you get girls and stuff. So you can take that around and you can have some fun with that. But I do appreciate you guys coming over. It was a fun game to watch on Friday night, and the best of luck again on Thanksgiving. They'll give us a little bit of a chance, okay?
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
That's Dawson Stewart, quarterback and linebacker for O&J Roberts, and his head coach, Rich Kolka, right here on the Vlahos & Dunn Insurance Monday Morning Quarterback. We're going to take a quick timeout. I got my buddy Neil Olkowitz as we get ready to break down Eagles-Redskins Monday Night Football right after this.
Stay tuned for more Monday Morning Quarterback right after this.
So you're officially married. Congrats! It's time to combine things. Your last names, your toothbrush holders, and your health insurance. When you combine policies, you can save and live happily ever after financially. Use the red key for more money-saving tips. Find yourself impulse buying uncontrollably? Here's a tip from Ben Franklin. Carry me in your wallet. Big bills are harder to give up. The next time you're tempted to impulse buy, you might not want to break a Benjamin. Use the red key and save.
Doc Watson's is one of the hottest new sports bars around. Located next to Zern's Market in Boyertown, Doc's offers something for everyone. From live entertainment to countless draft beers, from great burgers to the new outside patio, from the numerous TVs to the friendly Doc service. Doc Watson's is the place to be. So stop by Doc's today for a leisurely lunch, a quick cold beer, or a great bite to eat on a nice fall night. Doc Watson's.
Established in 1916 and granted membership into the Philadelphia Golf Association in 1920, Brookside Country Club is well known for its challenging layout and true fast greens. The William Gordon design provides a challenge for golfers of all abilities. Brookside Country Club offers traditional club amenities in a family-friendly atmosphere. Brookside Country Club, where elegance and excellence are par for the course.
At Vlahos Dunn Insurance, we understand what moves people in business and in life, and we use this knowledge to better serve our clients. And we bring the same work ethic and commitment to our business as our customers do theirs. Vlahos Dunn Insurance, providing quality coverage to the Tri-County area since 1994. So call our knowledgeable staff.
Hi, I'm Jim Vlahos of Vlahos Dunn Insurance, and we're in your community.
Hey, we're back here on the Vlahos Dunn Insurance Monday Morning Quarterback. Again, I want to thank Rich Kolka and Dawson Stewart for coming over from O&J, entertaining us here on the show. I also want to thank Mike's Brick Oven Pizza for doing a great job again. Mikey Grader and the guys over there, Chris, and all the good people at Mike's Brick Oven Pizza. They sent over another nice little assortment of foods, pizzas and wings and things for us on set for our guests as well. So I want to thank Mike and his gang for taking good care of us here on the show. As I mentioned, I have my buddy who's always around when we need him, that's for sure, Neil Olkowitz. It's always great to have you, Neil. And again, the Eagles and the Redskins play tonight, so I'm sure it's a special game for you. My buddy number 52 there in the maroon and gold. Like I said, it's amazing. That looks like my Bloomsburg State College uniforms right there.
They copied.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, we looked exactly like that, even with the stripes down the side of the pants and everything. But certainly good times, and good to see you again, buddy. How's everything going?
Very good, Dave. Very good. Fired up for the big game.
Fired up for the big game. I noticed you didn't bring your head cheerleader along with you. Is she home getting her fantasy team together?
Yeah, she's an Eagles fan, so we're a little strained tonight.
Oh, okay,
so,
all right.
I figured it might not be a good idea.
Yeah, really. You're not on the couch tonight, are you?
Might be.
That's always a fun time with that. But she's a good girl, and I know she really likes her football as well. Well, it should be interesting, the NFC East. I don't know. People have said the Eagles have sort of distanced themselves. They have played pretty well. They are 5-1. But the Skins, with a big win tonight, could get right back in it.
Yeah, it could be real interesting. It's kind of a trap game for the Eagles. They're doing well, and all of a sudden the Redskins, Kirk Cousins, he gets a little hot after a couple games, and it should be a great game. And being in Philly, you know, it's
Yeah.
going to be good one way or the other.
Well, you know, it's funny when you talk about Cousins. I think it's like the Redskins' MO the last couple of years. As the season goes on, they do improve and get better. I don't know if it's Gruden and his staff or however it is, but Cousins and that gang really do play better as it gets a little bit colder.
Yeah, it seems Cousins is just a slow starter. You know, I don't know what it is, and each year they put his contract off. They won't sign him, and just like to keep to him. I don't know.
Yeah,
it's working.
I'll say, but I mean, but he's not doing too poorly though for getting the franchise
that's
tag at
true.
about
It's
$25 million a year.
Yeah, it's all relative.
It is all relative, yeah. But I don't know. I still kind of think that I would think that they'd be interested in locking him up for a couple of years, and I don't know if they haven't been able to get on the same page. I never know how the inside.
Yeah, I don't know. With Snyder being the owner, there's always something going on. There's always some kind of problem. So. Don't know if that's it or not, but I assume if he has a great year this year, they'll have to do something.
Well, I would think so. You know that there was all rumors that maybe Shanahan, Francisco would like to get his hands on him and try to lead that group, that they might be interested in giving him a big contract. But I think Washington would take a few steps back if they don't lock him up.
Yeah, definitely, because they really don't have anybody that's ready to step in. You know, it's not like somebody's waiting in the wings. And, you know, he's been there for a few years and in the system. And, you know, the continuity, you need that.
RG didn't work out at all.
Right.
Real sort of a glory guy for him.
That was like a flash in the pan. You know, it was good for a year. And
right. Players feel about all this? Like, you know, do they, I mean, obviously they don't get involved at the financial end or whatever, but locker room, I mean, they got a sense like, you know, why can't we sign this guy, or do we like him? Do we, how's that go?
It does affect them, especially with being a high-profile guy like that, because they all look at him and say, well, if they're not going to sign him, you know, what are they going to do with me?
Yeah.
You would think it'd be a lot better to get it settled and taken care of.
Well, you know, it was sort of interesting because the last time we talked, we were kind of, you know, curious that they let Deshaun Jackson and also Garcon, my man Garcon, who was an Eagles killer, by the way.
Yeah.
He'd always come up with some big catches against the Eagles. They let both of those two guys go, so that was a big chunk of their offense. And I guess the receivers are coming on. Pryor, I'm sure not as big a splash as they thought.
Yeah, he's been a disappointment, really. It seems like they're just a little off. He's, you know, made some big plays for them, but so far they really haven't quite gotten the same page.
Well, you know as well as I do, and you certainly more so than me, but the name of that game is consistency. And when you're a good player and the people look up to you, you become that all-pro status and that kind of, you better be consistent. Not just, everyone has talent at that level. You can make a big play, but if you make one good play in 6 games, you know, you're not the consistent guy.
Definitely. You know, it's a game of inches, and it makes a difference. And that's what we need, continuity, like you said, because, you know, you're not going to go anywhere without it.
Yeah. Well, you know, it's funny, a couple of things that really have happened recently, too, which I think is really sort of tough for the NFL with all the other extracurricular stuff going on is, you know, you got Aaron Rodgers hurt. You know, Carson Palmer goes down yesterday. They have J.J. Watt. They got a lot of high-profile guys that are going to be missing a lot of time, and that I think that hurts the NFL.
Oh, it really does, because, you know, they're the showpiece guys, and when they go down, it's different. It really is.
You know, I know injuries are such a part of the game, and it's such a tough thing to deal with, but you know, like I said, when you lose the likes of, like I said, Rodgers and Watt and Palmer and all those guys, it really does hurt the game. You know, I wanted to ask you too. You know, I was watching the highlight. You know, we were talking about Big Ben Roethlisberger when Dawson Stewart walked away. You know, I watched a little bit of their game yesterday, and you know, I'm watching these touchdown celebrations. I'm like, it's almost like they're choreographing and putting more time in these things than they are actual playing. I mean, I don't get it.
Yeah,
do you?
I hate it. You know, well, we're both old school,
Yeah.
but they really do. You know, they must spend a lot of time choreographing these things. You'd hope they're spending as much time getting there to begin with. You know, it's amazing, and you know, it's not good sportsmanship. I don't think. You know, it's I don't know. I don't like it either.
I think now, you know, Goodell, I guess, went to one extreme where the players were all upset. It's the no fun league and blah, blah, blah. Okay, so now they're allowed to do anything almost. And now the Steelers are playing hide and seek behind the goalpost yesterday, and they got 4 or 5 guys involved in the same touchdown. I mean, get the ball. If you want to spike it and get off the field and whatever, you know. I think it's turning people off.
Yeah, I agree. Apparently, a lot of guys like it, and I think they kind of did it to appease them, to kind of let them do something like that. But And it's nice having spontaneous stuff, but that's obviously
That's not
spontaneous.
spontaneous. Yeah, that's not spontaneous
it's great to
at
be
all.
thrilled with your teammate,
Right.
to support them, but to make it another show, and then you're delaying the game too.
Yeah,
like you said.
exactly. And those guys, they score enough touchdowns. Antonio Browns of the world and Odell Beckhams, they certainly score enough touchdowns. It's not like, say, you or I or Vince Papale or somebody gets a chance to score maybe 1 or 2 touchdowns in a career. You get there and you don't even know what to do because you're not even used to that kind of stuff anymore.
Matter of fact, they used to say, "Act like you've been there before."
Actually,
That
exactly.
was what they
Like
always
Barry
tell you.
Sanders used to hand the ball to the referee.
I'll be back.
Yeah, I'll be back is right. It's crazy. All right, Neil, well, listen, we got a timeout to take here. We come back. I got a couple of things to talk to you about. We have a little by the numbers segment. We have our game ball to go over, and then, of course, we'll finish up with our 5-pack picks. But Neil Olkowitz, number 52, top 70 Redskins of all time. Pottstown Hall of Famer, Tri-County Hall of Famer, Pennsylvania State Hall of Famer as well. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned for more Monday Morning Quarterback right after this.
At Vlahos Dunn Insurance, we understand what moves people in business and in life, and we use this knowledge to better serve our clients. And we bring the same work ethic and commitment to our business as our customers do theirs. Vlahos Dunn Insurance, providing quality coverage to the Tri-County area since 1994. So call our knowledgeable staff.
Hi, I'm Jim Vlahos of Vlahos Dunn Insurance, and we're in your community.
So you're officially married. Congrats! It's time to combine things. Your last names, your toothbrush holders, and your health insurance. When you combine policies, you can save and live happily ever after financially. Use the red key for more money-saving tips. Find yourself impulse buying uncontrollably? Here's a tip from Ben Franklin. Carry me in your wallet. Big bills are harder to give up. The next time you're tempted to impulse buy, you might not want to break a Benjamin. Use the red key and save.
Back in 1949, Claude A. Reinhardt founded his family business, which has served the Pottstown and Tri-County area for over 50 years, specializing in residential and commercial interior and exterior painting, paper hanging, and brick restoration. Thanks to the commitment of tradition and values, Claude A. Reinhardt Painters has once again received this year's Reader's Choice Award. So if you're thinking about having an estimate or just need some good advice, give Ron or Keith Reinhardt a call and put your painting and decorating needs in our hands.
The newly remodeled and renovated Creekside Sports Bar and Grill sits on the Landis Creek Golf Course. Featuring live entertainment and weekly specials, the Creekside offers something for everyone. Discounted beer and wing prices during all Eagles games brings a being at the game feeling. With tailgating, big screen TVs, and wearing your team colors, you can bring the fall spirit to Creekside. So stop by the Creekside Sports Bar and Grill and see all the fun things it has to offer.
Back here on the Vlahos Dunn Insurance Monday Morning Quarterback Show. Again, Dave Rydner and Neil Olkowitz. And Neil, each week we do have a couple of segments that we like to do. The first one is what we call By the Numbers, and that is brought to you by our buddy John Griesemer. John Griesemer, my accountant and financial guy. He's over there in Boyertown, located right next to Seville's Diner. It's a great job for me and a bunch of my buddies, for Benny Eckroth and some of my advertisers and sponsors as well. So if you're looking for somebody, give John Griesemer a call. Jackie, as his nickname is for a lot of years that I know. And I wrote this down last time we talked about it, and unfortunately, it looks like the streak is going to be over, but Joe Thomas got hurt yesterday, and it was a very nondescript play. He was just sort of turning this guy and tore his tricep muscle. 303 consecutive snaps. 67 games, never missed one in his career. That blows my mind.
That's amazing, especially at that position, and
Yeah.
For a team like that, that's it's a great tribute to him. It really is.
It really is. You not only say for a team like that, but there could have been times that they're going 2-14 or whatever, and he can take himself out. I twisted my ankle or whatever. He has never done that. He has never missed a snap in his career. 20 different starting quarterbacks in that time, and he never missed a snap.
That must be a record or something. Because
Oh, it definitely is.
a record.
Yeah, there's no question
It's amazing
a record.
because, you know, they always shit when a losing team. Goes to show you he must be a heck of a player to last that long and to be that door.
And he's out for. Talked about somebody of these high-profile guys. Certainly Joe Thomas. You know, they haven't won a game yet, I don't think. Have Cleveland won a game yet?
I don't think so.
I don't think they have. Nope, they're 0-7. But again, what a testament to him. 167 games without missing one snap. 10,363. I mean, I was pretty. But never missing a snap in a pro career like that. 20 different starting quarterbacks.
Yeah, that's amazing.
It is amazing. You know, we all sort of in games and coming out and stuff, but
yeah, like you
crazy.
said, lots of times guys, especially on losing teams, there's a lot of guys that end up injured that when they're winning teams,
exactly right.
They can suck it up.
Yeah, all of a sudden that little twisted ankle you could play through, except for when you're 0-15. Like, I'm going to go to the trainer. You know, and I'm sure that happens. And like I said, what a testament. And that you talk about by the numbers. That's certainly one for the books there. And again, hats off to Joe Thomas. Unfortunately, he'll miss the rest of the year with a torn tricep muscle. I guess those bicep and tricep muscles really set you down, I guess, you know. And
yeah, they're pretty serious injuries. I know we've had a couple other guys that had them, and they take a while.
Yeah, they certainly do, so he'll miss the rest of that season. Well, you know, another segment we have on the show is called Our Game Ball, and Our Game Ball is brought to you by The Styling Room. There's my good buddy Paul Strauss at 943 North Hanover Street in Pottstown. He's been with me from the beginning, and Paul, thank you again for all your loyal support. Do you have anybody that sort of stuck out in your mind over the weekend at all?
I got a different one. Blake Bortles bringing Jacksonville up. Their defense is great, but now the offense is starting to cook, and it's good to see some new blood in there.
Yeah, it is. Jacksonville sitting on top of the AFC South at 4-3. Bortles did throw for a career-high 330 yards as they shut out the Colts 27-0. And there's another injury that we didn't even talk about, Andrew Luck. You know, he had surgery back in the spring, and he was supposed to be ready to go by the season start, and he still hasn't played, and they're 7 weeks into the season.
Yeah, they're saying he's getting soreness in it, so they're trying to back him off, so they're still not sure. And, you know, for something like that, it's very touchy.
Yeah, especially for your franchise quarterback with a right shoulder injury. Man, that's a little shaky. Well, I'm going to go with Eddie Jackson. Eddie Jackson, my man from Alabama. Of course, I really like Nick Saban in Alabama. I know a lot of people don't, but I like the guy. And Eddie Jackson's a rookie for the Chicago Bears. He set an NFL record yesterday. He had 2 defensive touchdowns of over 75 yards. He returned a fumble 75 yards, and he picked off a pass for a pick 6 of 76 yards. First time ever in NFL history. And only a rookie. Eddie Jackson, they beat the Panthers 17-3, and they only completed 4 passes on the day. And that must have been a heck of a fun game to watch.
That's a good job.
That is a good job. Mitchell Trubisky, their new quarterback, was 4 for 7. And they won the game 17-3, and thanks to Eddie Jackson and all he was able to do.
You know, playing in a big-time program like Alabama like that, you know, they get them ready for all the big games, and, you know, they're ready as soon as they get the NFL.
Yeah, it's crazy. You know, the Eagles beat the Redskins 30-17 the first time. Down in Washington, which is a tough place to win. You know, we had talked about Cousins. Ryan fits every time they play him. You know, they lost Jonathan Allen, who I thought was a real nice interior player for him. You know, what do you think Redskins' chances are tonight?
Well, I think they're decent. Eagles, I'm really impressed with the Eagles, how they've played so far, and I think, you know, they're going to be tough to beat, especially in Philadelphia. But I think it's going to be a good game. I think Kirk is hot. He's going to play good, and hopefully he can hit Terrell Pryor for a big gain or two. I know the last game Pryor had a lot of catches was against the Eagles, so hopefully he can redo that, but we'll see.
All right, well, and before we go to our last commercial break, I want to give you our Big Frank question of the week. Again, brought to you by Clean Cut. Big Frank Bachara was, like I said, the most loyal guy that we ever had here on the show. There he is in the middle. That's Joe C. and I down there watching the Monday night. It was funny because it was a Monday night game. It was when Michael Vick went crazy against Washington that night, and they beat the Redskins. We were down there having pizza and having a good old time with Big Frank before he passed away. And just a great guy. And I want to thank the Bataras for keeping this thing going, and it's a lot of fun and clean cut. I'm going to give you an easy one, okay, because I'm feeling that way tonight with you, my buddy. Which NFL quarterback thrown the most interceptions in a career? Most interceptions in a career. We're going to go to a commercial break, so I'll give you time to think about it. I'll even give you a hint. He is also the guy who was sacked more than anybody else as well. So he threw the most interceptions in his career, and he was also sacked the most in his career than anybody else ever in the NFL. We're going to take a quick time out. When we come back, we'll see how Neil's knowledge is of the NFL right after this.
Key Bank, the official bank of the Monday Morning Quarterback. Get to know Key, your local, responsible, award-winning bank. Brookside Country Club, where elegance and excellence are par for the course.
And we're back here on the Vlahos Dunn Insurance at Monday Morning Quarterback. Always a good time with my good buddy from Phoenixville, University of Maryland, and of course the Washington Redskins, number 52, Neil Olkowitz. All right, Neil, I'm going to pin you down here. Which NFL quarterback threw the most interceptions during his career? And I said a hint, he was also sacked more than anybody else. And your answer is?
I'm saying a Saints quarterback, but I don't know who it was. You stumped me.
Well, it's not a Saints quarterback. It's not a Saints quarterback. And as soon as I tell you, it's going to be.
Is it an Eagles quarterback?
No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't. I'm going to tell you.
All right.
Brett Favre.
Wow.
Brett Favre.
I never would have guessed that.
I know. I wouldn't have guessed it either. I knew he played for a long time, and he bounced around. But I knew he was a gunslinger. I didn't know he would have had the most. He's number one, and George Bland, old George Bland, is number two.
Yeah. I was thinking back in the older days.
Yeah.
That's
Brett
amazing.
Favre. He had 336 interceptions during his career, and I thought that was a really high number. Although he played, almost 20 years, I guess, something like
that's
that.
true.
Played a lot of years. But again, I want to thank Bigsy Batara and the Clean Cut gang for bringing that back at all. A guy that I like is this. Blunt, LeGarrette Blunt, he wasn't much of a factor in that first game. He could be a factor tonight.
Yeah, I definitely think so. I was surprised they hadn't used him more earlier, but they've kind of getting to it more and more, and he could definitely do it.
Well, it's funny, Carson Wentz is now really being this national kind of guy now, and all the people are looking at him. They're talking about him as a potential MVP and all that. But what's so good about him is from his sort of humble beginnings, if you will, as a guy from North Dakota, a hunter, and a guy who didn't take things too serious. But he thinks he takes things pretty much in stride, doesn't he?
Yeah, I've been amazed. He's done a great job with them, and, he just looks like a natural. He's got the calmness to him, and he's been great.
Well, he said he's a great leader. He's one of those film guys, and first one in the locker room, last guy out of the locker room. Were you one of those first guys in, last guy out?
Film study was not my favorite. I did what I had to do because really I was more of a natural player anyways.
Yeah.
I had to know basically what was going on, and like a quarterback, offensive guys, they have to know a lot more.
Well, you were an instinctive guy. You were football players, no doubt about it. You got yourself. You had that proverbial nose for the football, and I say that with as a compliment for sure. That I had a lot of fun. We used to hook up and play against each other in high school, and It was a lot of fun, and I had a little fun with Rick Craniac down there when he got inducted into the Hall of Fame, too, back at our Chestmont League days at Pottstown and Phoenixville. And we were sort of like mirror images of each other, both those two teams.
That's true. We were both Steeltown.
Yeah, Steeltown, and hard-nosed guys
Yeah.
on both sides. And I said to you before we went on the air, I said, the junior high school was tough.
Yeah,
They were some tough games. All right, well, let's get our 5-pack picks in there real quick, Neil, before we go. And again, that's brought to you by Izzy's on 3rd. Stop over there. Great little sports bar on the corner of 3rd Street and Main Street over in Boyertown. They got a bunch of TVs, some specials, all kinds of beers on tap. It's a lot of fun. Go over there and tell Kurt and the gang I said hello. All right, let's go. Tonight's game, we have Redskins and Eagles. Obviously, you're going Redskins.
Obviously.
And I'm going Eagles. All right, we won't even comment on that one.
All right.
Buffalo and Oakland travels to Buffalo. Oakland sort of fumbled and stumbled a little bit there. Now they got their guy Carr back. Buffalo's playing surprisingly well this year.
Yeah, Buffalo's a pretty good team. I'll go Buffalo.
Okay, I'm going to go Oakland. I'll just go against you there. I like the Raiders. That would have been a team I would have loved to have played for. I think you would have fit in with those guys.
Yeah,
too.
they're always fun to watch.
Yeah.
And,
the Hogs and those guys, they would have been a good group. That would have been a heck of a reunion to go to. The Redskins.
That's true. Definitely be fun.
With Ted Hendricks and Otis Sistrunk and the men from Mars and all that stuff. How about the Houston Texans now? They're traveling to Seattle. Both of those teams need to win to keep pace.
I got to go Seattle at home, I guess.
I'm going to go Seattle at home, too. I'm going to go with you on that one. And then we have the Cowboys now on Sunday traveling down to D.C. to our nation's capital. What do you
Redskins. I'm going to be there, as a matter of fact.
Are you?
Yeah,
Good.
that's our alumni weekend.
Oh, is it?
They're bringing back
awesome.
everybody back, trying to get a little mojo going. I think.
I'm going on to Skins then, too, if you're going to be there.
That's right.
All right. And then, of course, the last game is San Francisco at the Eagles.
Eagles.
Yeah, okay. I'm going to Eagles as well, too. Well, Neil, I want to thank you for stopping by. It's always great to see you. The Eagles cover 4.5, or the Redskins cover that 4.5?
I got to go Redskins.
All right. Redskins plus 4.5. We can get that in for entertainment purposes only, that's for sure. All right, Neil, my man, thank you again for stopping over. I want to say hi to your wife, Renee, who's home watching. I'm sure getting ready for the big game, as everybody else is in this area. Neil Olkowitz, Dave Reinauer, the Vlaho Stun Insurance Monday Morning Quarterback. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week right here in our PCTV studios in the Pottstown High School.